We can talk about some different cardio myths and some frequently asked questions that I get when it comes to cardio. We're going to rip through this list super quickly. So if you do have any more questions on this one, again, please comment below and let me know. But the first one we're going to talk about, caffeine as a performance enhancer. Does caffeine help with cardio? Yes, a lot of the basically literature on this is that, especially in endurance-based activities, caffeine can have an improvement on your overall cardiovascular work output. So if you're trying to maximize it, maybe have a little bit of caffeine before your workouts. There's a huge general rule of thumb of 3 to 9 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. This can, for me, be from about 200 milligrams of caffeine all the way up to like 5 to 700. So it's a huge range. Find what works for you and stick with that. The next myth or frequently asked question is there a certain type of cardio that is the best to burn fat? No. Again, some will burn a little more calories. So technically those may be. So something like running, rowing, if you're bad at a form of physical activity, you're going to be burning more calories. But there isn't one inherently that's going to do that better. It just might burn calories a little bit more efficiently, but at the end of the day, it's pretty much a wash. If you're finding something that's consistent and that you enjoy, that's going to be the main thing, because that's what's going to lead towards long-term weight loss. In addition to this, we can also talk about cardio being the best way to lose weight. This is something that people always ask me, is like, which cardio should I do because I want to lose weight? So they're asking this question or statement because they assume that cardio is the best way to lose fat. This is sort of true. As we talked about earlier in the podcast, you will burn some calories directly from that cardio session, but at the same time, after that session, you're not burning any calories. And this is why weight training is super, super crucial, and we'll talk about later in the podcast, because weight training will build muscle, which actually burns calories at rest. So you can do some cardio during your session, they'll burn calories during, and then also that weight training where you build muscle, that's going to burn calories when you're sitting and doing nothing. So they're both helpful tools. Please do them both. Walking is enough cardio for me. Walking is enough cardio for me. This is something that people always say to me. It's like, oh, I get my cardio from walking at the grocery store. As we've talked about numerous times, you need to hit a certain threshold of actual heart rate capacity. So if you're not even at least at 50% of your maximum heart rate, which, as we discussed earlier, 220 minus your age, you're not getting cardiovascular benefits. You are getting physical activity benefits, general movement quality, but that doesn't really count as cardio, as in improving your overall heart health. It's got to hit over that threshold, ideally at least 50 to 60%, maybe a little bit more, hopefully, if you're able to, which most people should be striving to. A next common myth and question I get is HIIT is better than steady state. So when we talk about fat loss, it's kind of a wash. Again, overall calorie burn, you're going to probably burn about the same calories in the long term. So if you do 30 minutes of kind of a lighter activity or 10 minutes of a really hard activity, in the end, you cut down the intensity of one and increase the duration of others, you're still going to be burning roughly about the same amount of calories. When it comes to health, I think you should do both. We talked about high intensity stuff. It's going to work that maximal heart rate, so very vigorous activity for you. But also, in addition to this, that steady state is good for just general stamina and endurance through all your activities of daily life. So HIIT isn't necessarily better than steady state. You should incorporate them both. Should you run before or after your weights? This is another question I get asked a lot. Ultimately, the biggest thing I tell people is it depends on your goals. If you are able to do them on separate days, feel free. But if you can't, just do whatever's more important for you, or whatever one you like more. So if it's more important for you to run, or if running is a higher priority in your life, I would run first. If you want to do better with weight training, I would weight train first. Myself personally, I usually weight train first because I don't notice as much interference with cardio, versus if I do cardio first, it kind of sometimes affects my weights. It's really not that big of a deal at the end of the day. Do what's good for you and what makes you stick to exercise. Last thing, running is bad for your joints. running is bad for you, period. Running could be bad for your joints if you go in with too much volume and poor technique. As we mentioned, it is a high impact activity, and if you are running consistently in a poor movement pattern and you ultimately haven't gotten taught how to run properly, yes, this could absolutely be bad for your joints. And this is why I would really wean into your overall volume, wean into how much you're doing, and then of course over time, long term, you can come back and add more. So it could be